Hello, how are you? It's the Irish Sampling Aegis here again. Oh, that's right. I'm Sean, and I'm Barry. This here's Barry. Sean, that's right. Sean and Barry. That's right, Barry. And we're going to be reviewing some more whiskey for you, that's right. But before we go any further, it's come to our attention that there have been a couple of fellas out there in the United States. The Scots Test Dummies. That's the Scots Test Dummies. That's the very fellas, Barry. That's them. And they've been copying what we're doing. Now, come on, altogether. With the millions of viewers that we've got, you would think that they think that we're going to get away with it. Anyway, we'll say no more about it as long as they're in their necks in. We'll just get on with doing what we do. 100%, Barry. So before we go any further, let's hit that catchphrase. Do it. Let's do it. Sample it. Hello and welcome to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novice. Good to be here as always. Good to have you with me. It is review number 44 and part 4 of my series Baker's Dozen, looking at 13 12-year-old Scottish single malts. And we're moving to the Highlands this time and looking at AnCnoc 12-year-old. Couple of things here. I'm saying going to the Highlands. Sometimes this gets confused as a Speyside because of its proximity to the Speyside region. Very, very close, right on the border of what is considered the Speyside region, but it is a Highland, if it really matters. You will also not hear of AnCnoc distillery. This comes from the Knockdhu distillery. They changed their name. You used to be able to get Knockdhu whiskey, but they stopped using the name Knockdhu and started using this name AnCnoc, which means Knock Hill, is Gaelic for Knock Hill, because, and I'm sure you have heard this story before, but because they didn't want to cause any confusion with Knockdhu distillery. Fair enough, their choice. What do we know? They closed down, the Knockdhu distillery closed down in the early 1980s and then was bought over, picked up and reopened by the Inverhouse Group in the late 1980s. There's your basic facts. This, as I say, is AnCnoc 12-year-old. It is bottled at 40%. It is non-chill filtered. Is there colour added? I don't know. It doesn't claim it. I couldn't find anywhere to say whether there was or whether there wasn't. So we say yes, then that there probably is colour added, although probably not an awful lot. As I say, bottled at 40% and matured in ex-bourbon casks. There you go. That is your information to be moving on with. What's it like? Well, as I said, a Highland 12-year-old bourbon cask maturation. So you may have a few ideas in your head of where it's going. Beautifully bright citrusy nose. Beautifully bright and citrusy. Malty and sweet, but not sickeningly sweet. It's not saccharine. Very fresh. That sweetness starts to show as a powdered sugar and even syrup. It's quite syrupy. There is fruit, as I say, it's citrusy, but I actually get, and it's not something that I would get on a lot of whiskey. It's not something that you hear mentioned an awful lot on whiskies. Strawberry, but it's not just strawberry. It's strawberry chewy sweets, strawberry chewits or whatever. This might just be something that means something to me, but it is. There's a strawberry chew off it, but there's also apricot. There's soft fruit. Pear drops, acid drops. Some lovely, lovely, fresh, as I said, sparkly notes. Yeah, very, very nice. Into the palate. Very, very gentle, sweet, sour delivery. More fresh fruit. More of that strawberry chew thing. Slight tobacco note. That vanilla from the cask is there. Yeah, definitely. So you're looking at probably fairly good quality cask maturation. There's a very, very light chocolate note in there. Light nectarine note. So there are sweetness and fresh. It becomes peppery. The oak spice comes at the end and doesn't just flitter away. It's there. It makes itself known. Very, very nice. Finish. Soft. Sort of medium length. And more of that slight tobacco note in there on the finish. As I said, this is balled at 40%. It punches above 40% for me. Not an awful lot above it. It feels it's actually got a, now that I've given it a chance in my mouth, it's got a good mouthfeel. It is creamy. It is oily. Not massively. I'm picking a wee bit, but I would say it feels more like a 43%. It doesn't feel as big as 46. It doesn't feel as small as 40%. So it does feel like as if it punches a little above its weight. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Now, I'm not going to add water. I did during my tasting notes, as always. Didn't bring enough to the table for me. Just thinned it, softened it. Didn't really bring a whole lot of new notes or experiences. So what I will do is compare it, and I've made a mistake. I know already I've made a mistake with my comparison, and I've went back for this again. I did say a few episodes ago that I'd be reaching for this as my comparison bottle more than once in this series, and there's a reason for that. I feel Glenfiddich represents Highland whiskey or Speyside whiskey, you know, somewhere in that area fairly well. It's just a good benchmark whiskey. Let's put it like that. And I've just said there that I think I've made a mistake here already, and I do think I've made a mistake with this one. So what I'm going to do is give you my comparison anyway as to what I think or how they feel against each other. They're certainly very close in colour. This is the AnCnoc again. There's the wood influence in this, I think, is what's going to make the difference between these two, because this feels more rounded, more earthy. This, I imagine, before even smelling it or tasting it, is going to be brighter and lighter than this. Not that this is a heavy, laden down whiskey. It's still bright, still fresh, but it just has an awful lot more volume, I think. So let's find out. Yet again, and I think I said this before about this, there's an earthier note in here that I keep forgetting about. again, much lighter. This feels like 40% because it is. This feels higher. There's something in the mouthfeel of this. This brings something to the mouthfeel, which makes it feel like as if it's got more body. Said it before, Glenfiddich 12, can't knock it. Coffee, slight coffee note off this today, strangely. Could be coming off this. I haven't cleansed my palate. Yeah. Yes, this just feels bigger. It feels larger. It feels like it's bringing more to the table. Can't fault Glenfiddich. Always like it. I'll always say that. I do like this whiskey. You go up the range in the AnCnocs, the volume goes, the ABV goes up. You know, you expect better, you get better. But as a 12-year-old entry level whiskey, this I like a lot. It generally comes in around the 30 to 35 pounds mark here. Now, there's a good chance you'll get it for an awful lot less where you're at. There's a good chance it'll cost an awful lot more where you're at. There's a good chance you may not even be able to get it where you're at. But if you can get your hands on it, I would recommend it. Enough said. Right, time to share the love again. I haven't shared the love in ages. Plenty of love to go around, as I've said before, but just so much more to talk about. And we were talking to their weird Irish cousins at the start. I didn't miss that. I didn't let that one go. And it's this pair. Of course, the Scotch test dummies, Scott and Bart. As always, could I have found a more flattering picture? Well, I don't know if there is a more flattering picture of these pair. I mean, look at them. They're gorgeous no matter how well they're dressed. I love the Scotch test dummies. I love what they bring. But I think with them, it's not just the enthusiasm. Yet again, I'm going back to an awful lot of what the guys that I share the love with. It's not just the enthusiasm, it's the knowledge that they bring to the table, it's the experience that they bring to the table. As with the other guys that I always mention. I mean, these guys, I'm sure there's nearly a video for every whiskey that exists, but they just know their stuff. And they have a bit of fun in their experience of that whiskey when sharing it with us whiskey fans. And yet again, as with everybody that I share the love with, they don't just make videos for whiskey fans. Their videos are there for everyone, and they're there for everyone just starting their journey to those who have been years down that journey. They have something for everyone, and I really appreciate that. And they have a great backlog of stuff there to dip into. There's some classics. They do like to have a laugh, and at others' expenses at times. And I'll throw a link in up here to one of my favourites involving our good friend Roy at Aquaviti. If you haven't seen it, it is very worthwhile. So there you are. Love shared. Scotch test dummies. I'm sure you're already following them. I'm sure you already know who they are. But if not, definitely check them out. Very, very worthwhile. There you have it. Another one wrapped up. Once again, I would just like to thank you for being here. I would like to thank once again my patrons. Very, very much appreciated. And if you would like to join in that Patreon group, I will leave the details in the description below. There you have it. Thank you once again. Much love to you all. Here's to your good health. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.